My name is Matt Madden, Vice President of Production and Development at Giant Studios. Virtual production is a term that not many people are familiar with now, but it really kind of started on Avatar, and it's essentially about combining the fundamental elements of live action into more of a virtual 3D paradigm, but also making the process seamless in that experts in the industry of live action shouldn't have to learn some newfangled computer graphics language to do it. It should be an intuitive process for them. It's just a different medium. So just like you have lights on this set and in physical sets, we have digital lights or virtual lights in a CG set. And they have to be arranged and adjusted just like you would when you're setting up a light on a physical set. So we're building tools to accommodate that and make it intuitive for designers and artists to come in and use those. On Avatar, it was a unique project, of course, because it's such a huge scale. Typically it involved working with Jim, making sure that we had all the elements in the scene that he wanted to see in real time. And that was one of the unique aspects of such a big production, is the ability to see all these elements live. And so we were largely responsible for creating those assets from the performances on the stage, the physical performances, and turning those into digital characters, props, what have you, in the actual virtual environment that he could see and direct just like he would live action. So we have so many different areas that we're involved in that, based on their training, we would find those positions that are best suited. There's a variety. One is originality, one is understanding principles of light, color, composition, all those key elements, and then if it's an animation, of course, principles of motion and even some element of physics and what is deemed to be believable and what's more of a surreal type of style. And so understanding the differences between those and when different elements are more desirable than others based on the type of content we're trying to create.
My name's Kevin Cushing, motion capture supervisor. My responsibilities is run the stage, so when we have a shoot running, I'll manage all the technical operators, make sure our artists are all up to speed, make sure if we have technical problems, I put the right person to solve that problem. When we finish the shoot, I also supervise the editors who look after the motion, they incorporate it into shots. They might have to clean it up before we deliver it to a client. So I have both an on and off stage role as a supervisor. My photography first began in Australia, where I was an undergraduate, went to the College of Fine Arts in Sydney, and arrived in the photography department, was interested in using slide projectors, doing film. I wasn't all about just the still image. And that evolved over the 5 years that I was getting my art education, to where I felt that I could use any medium. It wasn't about me being a photographer, it was about me being an artist. So anything that I went into, the challenge was to be creative and to bring my art vision to that project. I think art has led me on every single path of my career. I think going to art school allowed me to understand some materials, but more importantly, how to express my creativity. And I think everything that I do today is imbued with that art background.
So I work on a lot of MOCAP here, which is short for motion capture. That's what we do here at Giant Studios. So I did Prince Caspian, some of the first Iron Man. We did Mummy 3. We've done a bunch of video games, including some of the UFC games for THQ, game cinematics, all that kind of stuff. Then right about as I was hired, Giant was really ramping up on Avatar. So I got transferred over to be a stage PA on Avatar, and then once we started shooting camera, I did some time as Jim Cameron's camera assistant. It was really great. We learned a ton there. It was it was really an experience, and it let me see the rest of the whole pipeline. So now that Avatar's done, I'm a motion editor, and whenever we need to have these kind of models and stuff made, generally I'm the one to make them. Well, one thing that's kind of interesting about the MOCAP field in general, I've found, is that people tend to come from a lot of different backgrounds. And so since it is a relatively new technology, you have some people who are creatively minded with a programmer past, and some people like myself with a fine art background. I went to the Rhode Island School of Design, got a BFA in animation. Well, one of the best things that I learned in art school is the way that color and light and value all interact within the picture plane. And so even though film and mocap and the 3D environment seems like a much bigger, more complicated thing, in the end what you're doing is making a 2D image. So the concepts of making color balance right, of choosing your lights and your darks and the negative shapes and all of that are really, really vital in making all this. And so, the technology helps you get there, but without making those kind of deliberate choices and, being informed by how color is playing in the frame, you're not going to have a product that looks nice. And so now that we're here at Giant, the tools are a lot different than the charcoal or plaster or whatever that we used at RISD, but all the principles of sculpture and motion and framing and composition are all the same.